Hello, Professor Bordway here, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I've termed is called vibrational green architecture. And of course, we all know what the green sustainability architecture elements are, and matter of conserving energy and not using as much as we have in the past, or needing to use as much as we have in the past. When you think about energy use on a building or a structure, it has to do with usually responding to environmental issues, depending on where we're at in the world and the extremities of climate. If it's moderate climate, then perhaps we can utilize the outside temperatures and comfort the occupants inside the building. However, if it's extreme, then we'll have to go into taking a look at ways of becoming more efficient in the structure. And the idea, of course, is to keep the cost down and keep the use down by using renewable resources and such as well. So green design, working with Mother Nature and the like, and then of course sustainability, keeping as many resources that we have on this planet to a comfortable level, but also keeping what we have put into the building, sustaining, keeping the energy that we have put into the building without losing it at a fast rate or at any rate at all. Sometimes clients will come to me and approach me and ask me about, or say, well, I'd like to be off the grid, or even sell energy back to the utility companies, and such. And so that's something that we have to kind of watch out for also in architecture today is the cost of that. And it really comes down to your number one rule in architecture, and basically have you advised the client about the cost, the additional cost to make and design an efficient building. And progressively, as we go throughout the project, we always want to make sure that we are advising and informing the client as they need to be, so they can make proper decisions. And we do that verbally and also in written form. The verbal takes care of the immediacy issue of what's going on presently, and the written form basically takes care of you as the architect. So when we generate any type of correspondence, the idea is to reflect what is called the due diligence, properly practicing architecture and standard of care as we need to throughout the course of the project. So there's a lot of gray area in this profession as well. It's like, well, to what level do you inform the client? I mean, that could be to the infinite level, so we do have to make sure, though, that we've done the due diligence and informed the client. They might ask us for a recommendation, but that basically is not a decision. And when you come to the understanding that you do not make client or agency decisions, is the time that we stay out of trouble. And the client needs to understand that as well as the agency. We do not make decisions for them. We advise them, inform them, educate them, recommend, and present information, but that's as far as it goes. We do not make their decisions for them, which is the other reason why the client does need to be at all of the meetings on a project, or their legal representative, not an attorney, but one that can legally represent them, that the architect can take advice and can make the owner's decisions in their absence. Okay. So if you're in a reporter mode, going to meetings for clients and informing them about the meeting and all that, then you're really in a wrong position. You're in crossfire, what I call crossfire. And so it's a matter of those two entities meeting with each other, and you can facilitate, set up the meeting, but you're back there taking notes and advising them about code issues and design issues and such as well. But okay, so when you get in the middle of two organizations that need to be meeting, you're really what I call in crossfire. So we need to kind of watch ourselves onto that position. Anyway, getting back to vibrational green. So green design, taking lead seminars and such, understanding what makes an efficient building. It's really the first step is to what we call environmental design. And so we go through and take a look at where we're at in the environment. Okay, are you in Buffalo, New York, or Miami, Florida? So what are the extremities going on in regards to the project location? All right. And that could be a function of the design that you come up with as well. Now, we try to utilize as much vegetation as possible, keeping it on the orientations where we get cold breezes and so on through the winter time. And so we'll use the conifer evergreen trees and such in that orientation to block some of the wind. In a particular location that where I'm located at, we got 4 wind patterns, for example. We've got one coming down from the north, Alaska, Canada, and so on. And so we'll put conifer evergreen trees in that orientation. But we've also got dry winds coming off of the deserts of California, because I live in California. So we'll have a dry wind. They call it Santa Anas. They give names to conditions throughout the world. And so we have sand. So we might put a water element on that particular orientation, picking up some moisture, since it's a dry wind, coming into the structure. We might have storms coming up from Mexico, where I'm located, and so we get some moist type of storms, high levels of humidity, and so we might put vegetation on that orientation, and then of course we've got the mild winds as well, that on the southwest kind of condition. And on the west side, though, you'll find that your highest heat loss in summertime. So we're going to do deciduous trees there. We want the winter west heat gain. We do not want the summer west heat gain. And the north is the other extremity as well. It's the highest heat loss in the wintertime. All right. So south and east really are your preferable orientations in regards to energy efficiency. But also we're looking at the utilization of passive solar, active solar, and underground cisterns collecting gray water for irrigation, geothermal, working with as much Mother Nature as possible, winds and temperature and things of that sort, photovoltaics, converting sunlight to electricity, sensors throughout the building for HVAC and electrical. As we come into a room, then it turns on. HVAC electrical, after about 3 minutes or so, it turns off. No movement, no sound. Automatic dispensers in the restrooms, and so you can basically try to go through the building, outside and inside, as much as possible to make it as efficient as possible. But going back to this step 1, the environment, really we call that environmental design, designing with the environment. The idea here is to try to minimize the impact of the environment on the building, because step 2 would be designing the envelope, floor, walls, ceilings, and roofs, and we're trying to get a good resistance to heat flow, which is one of the tricks of energy efficiency. So if you can keep it in the summer and keep it out in the keep it in the winter and keep it out in the summer, then that would be one of the tricks, through opaque solid surfaces as well as glazing. And so the transfer of heat, convection, conduction, radiation, it's a matter of trying to minimize that transfer of heat, and that's what we call the big R, right? R, that's what stands for resistance to heat, R11, R22, and such. So a good arc of T of that particular assembly, total R, total resistance, is a good way of looking at the efficient envelope. But we have green design, and we've got sustainability. But what about this vibrational thing that's going on I'm talking about? And we're into, the 2012, so it's time to start looking outside the box and other ways of designing things as well, and incorporating other methods of design. Yeah, and the way I see it, it's not only outside the building and the efficiency levels of what we do inside the building, but it's also the occupants of the building as well. All right. And over time, they have done numerous studies on how the human body can respond to certain levels of light and sound and smells and crystals, and so there's aromatherapies and all that as well. And they find that the human body vibration will change as well. I mean, when you smell a smell, it can take you back in time where you, as a kid, I used to smell that a lot, and it brings some memories as well to you. And so the occupant inside the building, how can we achieve a good vibrational level for that occupant, appropriate vibrational level, relaxation, high levels of focus and energy, perhaps in a conference room where you want to be focused and such, good levels of accuracy and production, okay, good levels of relaxation in a break room, you're taking your lunch, okay. So in every space in a building, whether it's an office building or a home or whatever it happens to be, could also be dependent, the occupants could be dependent on these types of things. And this is what I call vibrational green architecture, vibrational architecture. And so we're just, I mean, I've been working on this for over 20 years, actually, and so now I'm talking about it, okay, and reflect my knowledge to you regarding how it's the whole picture. It's a holistic design, architecture, and so it's vibrational, the occupants being in a right frame of mind and focus and such, good vibration, and then also, of course, the efficiency of the structure as well. Okay, so when you see vibrational green, that's an exercise that we do in this office as well. We incorporate the whole picture when we do a design. Okay, vibrational green. And any questions you have, you can always call me as well regarding that particular issue. Okay, so if you have any questions, take care, and we'll talk to you a little later.